All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight to the Middletown Preschool Program Orientation. My name is Sharon Timmons, and I'm the Director of Special Class Programs, and I oversee the preschool program. You have Cindy Wilson, who's the principal at Ocean Elementary School, Mr. Eric Paulson, who is the principal at Harmony, and Mr. Ferry running over there around in his pink shirt, is from here at New Monmouth. For the special ed department, you have Danielle Schreck. She is the supervisor of curriculum and instruction. Jamie Kransky, who's the director of child study team. We have our child study team members, Miss Diane Hennessy and Miss Preschool. I knew your name. And then our teachers, I'm going to go through I'm going to call them by the first and last name because some teachers call them by the first name, others do first and last name. So we have Miss Becky Charzan, Miss Moore McKenna, Bryn Lust, Danielle Tyrone, Megan Esposito, Rachel Maskell, Laura Stratton, Stacy Kelly, Michelle Ventricelli, and Brianna Hart. Mr. Dunn is the district director of special education. He will be in here, so when I say that's Mr. Dunn, he's going to be the tall guy with the mustache, so you'll know who he is. I can quiz it, but if anybody wants to say Bob when he comes in, we can do that too. Okay, so like I said, we have three programs. The locations are Harmony, New Monmouth, and Ocean Ave. We have 11 classrooms. We have inclusive settings, so we have your regular preschool, regular education, and then preschool disabled classes. So the hours are, if it's not preschool disabled is full day. The other classes are Monday through Friday, 8:45 to 11:15, and then the PM session is 12:15 to 12:45. Tomorrow morning, the application will be up. So what you need to do is go onto the website, go to this website, and that is on the sheet, one of those handouts that we gave you. You're going to go to the special education department. You're going to print it out, and then you have to mail it in, or you can drop it off at the Board of Education department. The lottery is first come, first served. So however, if you're the first person to get that application in, you're going to be number one on the list. If we don't need to do a lottery, then it just goes in the order of the number which we received your application. Okay, understand? So if there isn't a lottery, then on February, the deadline will be February 15th. The lottery will be held at 2 o'clock on February 20th. It's a Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. Okay. Once that lottery is completed, we will then be sending out letters to say whether you were accepted or not. We will not be sending teachers until the end of the summer, but you will get either AM or PM. Okay, so depending on what that is. Now, if you have siblings, or if you have any other children that have siblings at New Monmouth, please indicate that, or Harmony or Ocean, just so that we're not having you go to two locations. Of course, we wouldn't expect you to go to two different locations, so we try our best to make sure that that accommodation does happen. It's important to know that the student range in the classrooms age from 3 to 5. 5 years old meaning that if they are not 5 years old by the time of start of the school year, they stay in preschool. Again, there's the October deadline, October 1st, 2019 is important. That's you have to be 3 by October of 2019. If you do have a son or a daughter that turns 3 in November, put the application in, and then we can start that application process then. Okay. Potty training is strongly recommended but not required. I did provide you with the handout with the potty training, a potty training book and some resources that will help you. I used it with my son. He liked it. He had fun. So I'll have a few links. It's kind of going from the PowerPoint to the actual links, or kind of brings you to different pages. So this again will be available for you tomorrow, so you can go through, click the links, and get more information. It will give you the preschool implementation guidelines, what the teaching standards are. We use the creative curriculum goals, which gives you a pretty good explanation in the handout that we gave you. A curriculum is just a vehicle for learning. We're looking for developmentally appropriate practices. Mr. Dunn, our district director, just walked in. Told you. It looks like, there you go. Someone said it. So we're just providing our teachers with some guidance and support. We want to provide a supportive learning environment, and just have that framework of the ongoing professional learning opportunities for our teachers. You have your easy inventory, easy preschool screener. We call it the Easy P. And it's really just a quick assessment that looks at the language and reasoning, the gross motor, fine motoring skills, and social development of the student. It does not provide enough information for a student to get an IEP, but it just gives the teachers a little bit of an understanding of where they are and maybe identify any possible delays or learning problems. But we do a preschool screening starting in the year in October. We give them time to pair with the teacher and feel comfortable. Then we test them, and then if they become eligible for a screening again, we do that in the middle of the year and then again at the end of the year. But you will get letters. We'll tell you everything where they are, give you the assessment, the results, and where they are on the level. Back to the teaching strategy goal curriculum. The learning environment, we talk about how children develop and learn, what children learn. We'll send you home letters so we can give you opportunities to give the examples of what we're learning in school. You can provide information for us. A lot of times we're doing a pet study. If you have pets, bring a picture in and we talk about it. So teachers do a really nice job of integrating real life experiences and making it meaningful for your son or daughter. So our classrooms, we have a daily routine. Students walk in, whether they're signing their name, move over to a center. So there's constantly something they know what's coming next, and then they go into circle time and talking about really integrating that social play when they first start in the morning, getting to know their daily routines, and it's consistently developed through the day. Your project-based learning, so we're making it more engaging for students. We're providing, again, real-life experiences and making sure that students are making that deep connection, really understanding the information. Teachers are incorporating technology. You'll see every one of our classrooms have a smart board, so students are working, whether it's on the calendar or a song or getting their sillies out, as we saw this morning. So it's really exciting stuff that we're seeing them. And again, another like the project-based learning, please click on that to get a little bit more information about that. So we have different learning centers. We have blocks, dramatic play, toys and games, math, art, listening, library, computer, sand and water, music and movement, and outdoor social discovery. What we're going to do now is the teachers are going to it's going to be their show now. They're going to talk about the centers, give you some examples, then I'm going to give you a moment or so while the teachers go down to the room before I give you their last FAQs. You can look at these items that they have. And then we'll go into the classroom. You can actually see the ways that the classrooms are set up. And then if you have any questions, we can discuss that too before you leave. Okay? All right.
All right, Michelle and I are going to talk a little bit about the Art Center. The Art Center is filled with materials that the children can enjoy on a purely sensory level. They're able to create all their ideas in visual form. Some of the areas that the Art Center benefits is social emotional development, because the children can express themselves and their ideas through art. Physical development, because the children are using their fingers and hands either to cut, use pencils, to glue. Their language, because they're telling their teachers and their friends about what they made. And their cognitive development, because we're also talking about shapes, colors, and sizes. Up here we're doing a building study right now at Harmony School. So you'll see over here, we use shapes to build a tower. And the children actually told my paraprofessional and I what they made. So up here you can see she actually just made a tower. We built a snowman, and to kind of incorporate literacy, we had the children write their letters of their name in each snowball. And also over here we use blocks to paint and to create a building.
And some of the materials that are within the Art Center are collage materials, so the students can use different materials such as buttons, feathers, glue, construction paper to create and express themselves. Other materials we have is Play-Doh, so they are working on their fine motor, so we have scissors available for them, just different Play-Doh cutouts that they can use. And then, like Brianna said, they do complete crafts based on this study that we are completing. So for example, we are completing the building study, so we use boxes and we create different buildings with them. And also every day the easel is available for the students to paint. We do display pictures on the easel. So for example, right now we have a picture of a school and Empire State Building for them to use to inspire their paintings.
Stacy and I are going to talk about the dramatic play area. In this area, the children are able to be creative and use their imagination. It's set up in, according to the studies that we're doing and the season that we're in. Right now we have a hot cocoa stand set up. So it touches on different areas too, the social emotional area. They're talking to each other, then they're negotiating roles. They're setting up menus, handing out menus, talking about prices, using the cash register. A lot of language comes out. You know, they're playing, they're also learning, and they're connecting experiences from home and outside community to you know, using the props in the dramatic play area. And also the physical part, the fine motor skills, the buttoning, the snapping, the zippering is all touched on in the dramatic play area.
Yes, the dramatic play area is initially set up like a home. So we may have a kitchen, living room, traditional foods, and the children really could relate it to their daily lives. So whenever they come in, those supplies are always out, and then we just carry that off of their interests. And like Laura had said, the studies. Like for example, right now we're learning about building, so we have a workbench in there. Back around Halloween time, we had a pumpkin patch. So we really carry one center over to the other. They may make pumpkin cookies and Play-Doh, and then they'll sell them here in dramatic play. So it's really just going off of their interests along with the studies.
Hi, I'm Miss Rachel. I'm going to talk about Toys and Games. Toys and Games is a great center. The kids love it. A lot of their play, a lot of their learning is through play. And when they go to Toys and Games, it's a little bit more structured because they're sitting at a table. And sometimes it's adult. We work on games, like taking turns, like we'll play bingo. So like we'll have a snowflake app, so we're just starting a winter study, so we have uppercase letters, lowercase letters, depending on their levels, because we do have 3-year-olds that are learning just to match letters, but then we have our older students who now are learning their lowercase letters, so then I would challenge them with lowercase letters, and we start talking about sounds of letters. So during Toys and Games, we're talking about letters, numbers, patterning, we're talking about shapes. All of those academic skills are worked on in Toys and Games. There are games that they can grab and play with. There's Connect toys that they can play with. They can make letters with them. They can build with Connect blocks and count how many blocks they have, so they're working on their counting skills. They're putting together like peg buildings, and they're working together. So if you're playing a game with a friend, you're working on taking turns, communicating with each other. It's my turn, it's your turn, sharing. So all of these important skills are a little bit more structured during Toys and Games, and sometimes it's teacher directed, sometimes it's not. But really the most important thing is that they're having fun while they're learning, because at this age, in order to keep their attention, it has to be fun. So when they're sitting at a table, their attention span, it's a little bit harder for them to attend. So we might play a quick game at the beginning of the school year, but now like my 3-year-olds who couldn't sit for 2-3 minutes to play a game now are sitting for 10-15 minutes playing a game with me, and they don't want to leave. So that's just how we work on their development. This development is really important.
In the Library and Listening Center, it's an area set up for the kids to come and relax and just to kind of get away from the more physically attractive centers that we have. In there we have books. They're able to read books. They are read to. They listen to recorded stories. They retell and make up their own stories. And it strengthens their skills in all areas of development. For social emotional, the children learn about people who are similar to them and different from them. They can learn social skills as they read books. They can share books, share ideas as they're reading books together. They can reenact stories and write messages to one another. In the physical area of development, they will strengthen their hand muscles when using tools for writing and drawing. They can read a book and then go and write or go and draw a picture to go with the book that they just read. They're following along, learning, going from as they read left to right and strengthening their eye muscles. In language and literacy, it also helps. All aspects of language, reading, writing, listening, and speaking can be strengthened also in the library area. We also incorporate different studies into the books that we're reading.
Great. So, well, what we decided to do is we decided to work together to show you how we could cross over story time into the block section. So if we're reading, for example, the book All Through the Town, which is a connection between all of us, we're doing the build and read it, we'll bring it into the build-in section, and we will take parts of the story and we'll bring it into the block section, and they can recall parts of the story, bring it into the block section. It all is connection or comprehension, eye-hand coordination, socialization, my turn, your turn, working together, as well as you could also connect it with the writing center. So if you put little markers in there, little whiteboard, they can take the whiteboard, write different blocks on here, different vocabulary, even build by matching the pattern. And they'll have the little whiteboard, and then you can build your own house and your own all around the town, and that's how we cross over the cross curriculum. Ms. Bryn is going to take over for the blocks.
So through hands-on learning, children develop the understanding that the blocks must be placed in certain orders and on top of each other, not to fall down, which is a great fine motor skill that most 3-year-olds that come in don't have yet, but by the middle of the year, you see that they develop that skill. There are also many matching and sorting activities that we do with blocks. So we have pattern block mats that match along with the study. So we're starting winter, so we would have snowflakes and snowmen, and they have to match the blocks onto those laminated mats, which is a highly preferred activity. The block area provides great assistance with hand-eye coordination, fine motor skills, positive social interaction, spatial awareness and concentration, and early math and engineering.
I'm Maura McKenna, and I'm at Harmony School. Becky, Krizan, and I are going to speak about the sand and water table. When children pour water into measuring cups, they are exploring math concepts. When they drop corks and stones and feathers and marbles into a tub of water, they are scientists discovering which objects sink and which objects float. When they comb patterns into sand, they are exploring both math and art. Sand and water are natural materials. Often an open but focused exploration of sand and water enhance many areas of development. So we're also doing the building study. So our children are now bricklayers. So we have foam, shaving cream, and they're smoothing the shaving cream on, and they're putting them together, and they're making buildings by using the same sort of materials that real builders use. And we have a separate sand table and a separate water table. So this I keep in the water table. And in our sand table, we have things like connecting blocks, bulldozers, excavators, rocks, and things like that for them to pretend that they are on a job site.
Yeah, one of the things that we're doing in the water table, I'm going to be really quick because she's all looking at it, you want to get to see the classrooms, is for a building study, what we did was we took some letters, we froze them in cups of water, and then what we did was put them in the freezer. We talked about, because winter too, we incorporated some seasonal things that are happening. We put the cups in the freezer, and then we said, well, what do you think is going to happen? Oh, they're going to turn to ice. And I said, so let's see. So the next day we took them out. We put them in the water table, obviously, and we gave them hammers. So they were like little carpenters, and they were hammering away. It was like really loud that day, boom, boom, boom. And they would get the letter out, and they had to say what the letter was, and they were so excited. So they were excavating. It was fun. So that was one of the things that we do in the water table. We had moon sand, and I would build something with moon sand, and I would take popsicle sticks, just moon sand and popsicle sticks, and let them just create. And then what we do is I take a picture, I send it home to the parents, and they were so excited to show everybody what they made, and then we hang them up in the classroom, and just so they can see what they could show each other what they made. We made a whole book. We took it, and then we take that book. We take pictures of what they made, we take that book and we put it in the library, and then they can show each other and they read it. This is my building, this is Tommy's building. And so it's the same sentence and it just repeats itself, and then they're actually just pre-reading. So it's sight words, and they're just learning that this is Bobby's building, this is Tommy's building, and they're just, and that would go in the library as well.
So at this point I want it to be clear that once you print out that application online, that does not mean that you're accepted into the program. So you have to submit that information, and then you will be getting a follow-up letter saying that you were accepted, and following that piece you'll find out later on, a couple months later, that with AM and PM session in the summer, you will you will get the actual teacher and assignment. If it's the middle of August and you haven't heard anything, please don't panic. The most important thing that you need to do, get the lottery application in. Once you get that letter, you'll have directions on where you're going to go to the Board of Ed website and register. That's the next important part. So once you register, then we can keep you on the list and go from there to solidify your spot. If you have any questions, Lisa McGuire is the secretary in the Student Services Department. You can write down this phone number, call this down. Now, if you get a session that says AM or PM, and say it's AM and you want PM, something happens in the middle of the year and you say that doesn't really work for my schedule, you can email me with the request. I can't guarantee it, but I put them in order in which they come in, or if it's easier for you to mail it or drop a letter off at the Board of Education office, you can do that as well. All paperwork must be completed. Any incomplete paperwork will not be accepted, and it's just going to push you further on down the line. So make sure that every question on that form is completed. Free and reduced lunch applications, if you are eligible for free and reduced lunch, you must make sure that all that information is filled out and add an email. So make sure you have an email on there. Because if you don't have an email, the system's going to change a little bit in July. You may get accepted as free and reduced lunch, but then if there has to be a change, we will have to email you. So again, free and reduced lunch, you must add your email, make sure all that stuff is complete. In July, they may change the process a little bit, so we just want to make sure that we can reach out to you and have access to you if we need to have that, get in contact with you again. A lot of times, there's issues with daycare. If you need early morning or after school care, check with the local daycares. Not that this is an endorsement from the Middletown Board of Ed, but there are a couple daycares that provide transportation back and forth that may make it easier for you. Okay, so you can reach out. I'd be happy to help you with different daycares around here, but you may know who they are. Yes?
Sorry.
That's okay.
So I have an older son going into kindergarten, but not at one of these schools. It's at, he's zoned for Fairview. So I don't even know anything about that process either. So I don't know what time Fairview starts, and do you take into account that there's an older kid in a Middletown school as far as like afternoon or morning, or I'm like.
So on the application, it says you put the request in AM or PM, then I look at your address and I try to zone you out to the closest one, whether it's New Monmouth, Ocean, or Harmony. If you have a preference on there, the more information you can provide to me when you actually fill out these applications, the easier it's going to be for me, and I want it to be easy for you just as it's easy for me. So the more information you can give me, and of course, that's a major consideration, but your process is going to be the same.
Okay.
Anybody else? Yes?
Is there any way of getting transportation with buses?
No, we don't provide transportation at all.
My question is about twins.
Twin.
Oh, well, so I have an older and then twins right behind him. So would I be able to preference that I want them, would they stay together in the same school, in the same class, and 3 kids, would they be in the same school?
If it's say, just for instance, you're here at New Monmouth, your children here at New Monmouth, I would do my best, and most likely I'd be able to make that accommodation if they'd stay here. If you want them in the same class, you tell me that. If you want them with different teachers, you may have to pick and choose what you have, because Harmony has more classes. So they have 4 regular ed classes and then the preschool table. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk to you about. And then here you have the 2 regular ed preschool and then 2 PSD classes. So however it's going to fit in, you make those accommodations. Obviously, hopefully, if they're in Harmony, it's easier because there's more flexibility there. But you give me that information on the application, and I do my best.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
How many children total do you take into the program?
It's a good question. In the general ed classes, there's 15 students, and then in each of the preschool disabled classes, there's roughly 9 in each. So right now, it depends on how many students are actually leaving out of the program, exiting. Approximately every year, it's about 100, 115.
That leave? Or that
Yes,
you fill?
that we can fill, the positions we can fill. Yes.
Do your regular ed classes have students with IEPs?
They do. So there's 5 in the makeup of the class. We do 5 income eligible, 5 tuition students, and then 5 students with IEPs. So we're trying to get like a heterogeneous, and we try our best to have a mix of males and females. So it's not all boys or all girls. registration.
In the case of twins again, if it does go to a lottery,
Mm-hmm.
and one gets picked and one, like, how does that work?
Well, I'd be in contact with you. We would discuss it. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully it won't happen.
Does it go to lottery all the time?
It has, but it really, again, depends on how many people we have.
With the application, it's going to become available, what, tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning? Yeah.
And then,
You might want to set your alarms. It could be happening at 4 a.m.
and then they're submitted online?
No, you print it out. You can either drop it off at the Board of Education office or mail it in.
So it can be submitted up until
February 15th, correct.
Where do we bring it?
That's okay. The Board of Education, second floor, it's the Bay Shore. And that's on there, that address is on there for you guys? On that sheet?
Leonardsville Road.
Leonardsville Road, yes. You're gonna go to the student services, and that link will be up there. Maybe we'll.
It'll say 2019, 2020 preschool information.
It's the website, and even if you got stuck, you can just Google search it, and it'll pop right up. It'll be right there.
They're open from
It'll
1 to 1.
be, when you first go to student services, it'll be the first default page. So we'll keep it as the first default page for about a week, and then we'll kind of move it down. So it's going to be a similar page to what is for the current school year. It'll have the application, it'll have the PowerPoint presentation, it'll have a little bit of a caveat regarding the free and reduced lunch applications that they get reauthorized in July. So all that information will be there.
And the building is open 8 to 4.
When you go to the website, or the district website, there's a little magnifying glass, and you click on that, and it populates over, and you'll see student services there. That's where you'll see that.
Great, thanks.
It's not like blaring for you, so you have to hit the magnifying glass.
Okay, that's why I ask, because sometimes I have trouble on this. Okay.
Yes. Where do we find the list for the local daycares? So I know that you have Spice Tree and Kindercare. Those are the two that I know that have had transportation. I don't know if they're still doing that, but those are the two that. Yes.
And 3 and 4-year-olds are together in the class?
3, 4, and some are 5 years old. Yep. So it starts depending on the age. Yes. Yep, as soon as it comes in, it gets stamped, they put it, as soon as our office receives it, they put a number on it, and they go into a spreadsheet, and then I pull all the lists depending on the 15th. If we need to have a lottery, then we do so. Yes?
What is income eligible exactly?
It just means that students that have free and reduced lunch, so it depends on the amount of money that you make, so there's a cutoff. I'm not really sure exactly what that cutoff number is.
You would get a reduced rate. If you're a tuition student, and based on your family's income, you would get a reduced rate as opposed to, I believe it's $300 a month, if I'm not mistaken.
300.
About that, so you'd be eligible for that.
Okay, so I want you guys to really enjoy this. We're going to be here until we have another 20 minutes. I want you to quickly, if you want, come take a look at these centers here, and then we're going to start making our way, and we'll point you down to the 2 classes down the end of the hallway that are your preschool classes. All right, if you have any questions, you can stop by. I'll be in the hallway. Any of us can help you.
Drinks and food.
Drinks and food, because I'll eat all the cookies, so help me out. Yes.
If you want to hold 1 second, let me just show you real quick. All you're going to do is click on this. Never mind.